I wanna introduce a term into the cultural zeitgeist. It's one that I don't think I've ever I'm not gonna say I came up with it, but I derived it from another term, and the term was cultural appropriation. And I think there's an argument to be made when things are culturally appropriate. So I want to have a discussion about the idea of culturally appropriate. And this, I think, goes into very many things like people making foods, when it's okay to make certain uh, accents. Because I'm the type of person that, specifically, let's talk with impressions and accents. Because I'm the type of person that when I try and sound like someone in conversation, when I say someone said something like a certain way,
You
I'll
can,
try and talk like that person.
yeah.
Like,
And it's not even just like someone like non-American. It's like
yeah,
literally country
I
accent.
had a chemistry teacher in my junior year of high school, and she talked like this. And anyone watching, if you were in class with me, you would say this was a very good impression of this woman. Um, and she was the princess in India,
Yeah.
but she was like a fucking chemistry teacher here,
What the
and
fuck?
like yeah, um, she was dope. Like I did not do well in that class, but she liked me as like a student, as a person, because I was fun, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
and as
Sometimes that matters.
I wasn't too much of a distraction in the class,
Yeah.
but like I had friends. Oh my god, there's this beautiful girl in the class. Sorry, that's just me going on a tangent. I just remember this because I was young at the time, so I just remember like all of us were just like, damn, this is like this chick's like, you know how it is when you're young.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But anyways,
Young, stupid.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
even. You
right.
never even talking to that chick.
Yeah, and like no, she was like in that circle of like the talkative kids with us.
Oh shit.
Yeah, no, like
Well,
yeah, no, and like me and this other dude, and like me and this other dude got in trouble, like because I had a lot of fun with people in that class. That was a fun class for me. Um, so right, so my teacher had an accent, and I even remember I didn't want to be in that class, not because my teacher had an accent, but because like on the first day of class, she was like, "This is going to be a very hard class. This is I'm a very tough chemistry teacher. We were going to have a very, very difficult time. If you are not very dedicated to the sciences, I'd recommend you." So I'm like, okay, fuck yeah, I'm not trying.
Ace.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not trying to be fucking
Wait, what
like
teacher was this?
Miss.
Okay, I never had it.
Yeah, she was you know, she's probably about the height of my mom, but
Mm-hmm.
uh Indian woman,
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
smart. Like again, it was a good like
I'm sure. Sure was
again,
good.
I
Yeah.
was not dedicated. I was not
I
a
never.
dedicated student
Yeah, I never
at
had
this
a.
point in the day. I'm not gonna say at this point in my life because like I took my English class junior year very seriously because my teacher was a very no nonsense
Yeah.
type of deal. But like I had too many people to fuck around with
Mm-hmm.
in that chemistry class, so like there was no way I was gonna be a good student.
There's no way.
Yeah, and so but I tried to get out of the class because she said it was gonna be very hard. So I went to the dean's office, and back in the day, everyone went to go see fucking Mr. So I went with my mom to go see. And I'm like, yeah, we're trying to get out of this. No, I didn't even get to see him. It was like my actual counselor wound up seeing. So so
So
there we,
they.
so
Mr. That was the black dude, right?
yeah,
Yeah, he
he
was. He was
he was
pretty
he was
funny.
cool. Everyone liked him.
Yeah, he was pretty funny. I remember. Oh God.
He was cool. He cared about students though. He was
Yeah.
the type of person that I remember I like met him once, and I was like sick, and I straight up told him like, dude, I'd shake your hand, but I'm like sneezing and it's up a storm right now. I don't want you to get you sick. And he was like, oh, cool. I understand. But anyways, but I went to be my other counselor, and my mom was straight up like, he doesn't want to be in the class because of her accent. I'm like, that's not what the fuck I said. I didn't want to be in the class because it's hard. That had nothing to do with it. You're trying to make me sound like a racist, and like
Yeah.
there I am in like
Jeez.
in like high school. It's like in my junior year. It's like I'm not a fucking racist. I'm just doing good impressions of fucking my teacher. Like I don't like see to the point where I'm like now I'm like even getting a little frustrated thinking about it. I ripped off the
Yeah,
little
yeah, yeah, yeah. I seen that, but yeah, yeah. So what? Yeah, you did a good accent. You did a good accent. Of fucking Ridge Holland.
right.
I don't know. That was.
I
accent,
love
yeah.
Seamus so
But you
much.
do a good British
When
accent. It's
when
whatever. You were in
I
theater.
have gotten good, I have straight up gotten complimented on how good I can do a British accent. Because when I was doing a show, everyone had to have a British
Yeah,
accent.
wasn't there British people there? Or,
No, I had my stage manager was British.
yeah.
So, and one of the characters had a hard Cockney accent, and I was sitting there doing impressions of the hard. Oh, governor, yeah. So, I mean, that was terrible right now, but at the time, I was doing
It
really
was
good.
good enough for me.
Yeah. All right. At the time, I was I was nailing all those
exactly like 'em.
impressions, and she was like, oh, "He gets it. He understands.
Oh God.
The boy knows the show." And everyone's now like, "Wow!" And he started killing it on that British accent. But again, I wanted to sound like the person that
Yeah, yeah.
that I'm trying
yeah,
to sound
yeah.
like.
You
Like even if I was
you impressed that
the whole
goddamn.
joke where I'll answer the phone with someone and then answers like Ryan or Sean. It's like, "Hey man, what's going on? Yo yo yiggity wo yo yo yiggity yo. What's going on, homie?" It's like it's just fun for me. So, and again, on the phone, it's really easy. Like anyone watch like that's seen a few episodes and it'd be like, "That's not what Sean sounds like."
Yeah, yeah.
Anyone that's watching though will be like, "That's exactly what Ryan sounds like." If you know Ryan, but on the phone, like you get this nice distortion, so you can really like fuck with people. Like if you can kind of get close to your friend's voice. But again, like I don't think I can really do your voice. I've never tried to do your voice, but I've done a lot of like other, black voices. But again, it's like, is that inherently racist in doing those impressions? And I think that leads us back to
it might be.
it might be
It might be
because I know I've even done some of these in your presence, and I've like and
I mean,
in
and
the
I
back
get
of
it.
in the back of my
And
mind, I'll be
yeah,
like,
it's like I'm not offended, but it's
because
just
again,
like
generally for the most part, I'm doing it in context.
yeah, doing context and then, like I don't talk like that, but that's definitely
Yeah,
like
and it's not like I'm saying like
it's definitely like when like Tolkien's dad started doing the black voice, even though he's never done it before.
yeah, it's not like oh yeah, my friend Jordan said, well, these things, my son, and I said I really like the grape soda. Like that's not what I'm doing.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. Yeah, you never done that.
exactly.
But
It's like I try and be accurate for the most part to any interpretation
yeah,
I do.
it's just like that's just yeah, that's like it's just definitely just a program
Like,
thing.
like I'm sitting here like looking back at 5 seconds of my life. I'm like, fuck, man. Like I would never like fucking make any person sound like that unless they actually did.
Yeah,
like, maybe
like,
on a crappy.
it would help in context. Like, oh, obviously this person was black,
Like-
so now I can know the context of the story.
But like maybe if I was like doing like a hard Morgan Freeman like a terrible Morgan Freeman impression, would I do that voice? But like, Jesus, like
get busy talking
exactly.
or get busy dying.
Oh,
It's a Morgan Freeman quote. I never even seen the movie. I don't even know what movie it is.
I like that we've reached the point where movie quotes are so like movies are so part of our culture zeitgeist that people like have movie quotes.
You don't have to know.
They
the
don't
movie.
even like. I love watching movie.
You know who's in it, but you just don't.
Well, not
you
even
know
that.
who
Just
said
I
what
like
they
watching
said.
movie reactions, and then people are like, "Oh, is that what this is from?" Like I've been saying that my whole life. I didn't
Yeah.
realize. Like again, like
yeah.
like-
oh God.
like I was watching someone do a Terminator 2 and even just Terminator 1, and then they did Terminator. It was just Terminator 1. And again, like Terminator 1 has so many fucking bangers, and it's like, I'll be back. Come with me if you want to live.
Yeah. Fucking.
Like these are
There's there's a lot of things. Especially a Family Guy brings up like a lot of pop culture shit like that, and like you just like oh shit, and then you actually see it, and you're like oh fuck, that's what it's from. All right, that's what Family Guy was referencing. Okay, I guess.
that's like one of the things I love about America.
It's like I guess this episode is actually pretty. I thought it was just stupid shit,
Uh,
but no, they were just referencing an old movie.
American Dad references Chitty Chitty Bang Bang so often, and or not even. I think it's between both shows. It was because American Dad did the whole car with the wings flying
yeah,
off.
it
Like-
kind of makes up for my small penis, right?
And then the Bag of Weed song is directly from like even the choreography is from the Me Old Bamboo, which is from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
God damn.
And like this was at the time like one of the most expensive movies ever made, and it was like It was MGM's answer to Mary Poppins. Like they got Dick Van Dyke in it, and like they straight up wanted um Julie Andrews, but she was like, "No, I don't want to do this. This is just gonna be like, then it's just gonna be a Mary Poppins redo." It's like I'm not about that. So they
Mm-hmm.
wound up getting a different actress, but I at the time I didn't like this movie because there's a character in it called the Child Taker, and he has like this long, ugly nose, and like if you're a kid, this is a really horrifying character. But like now, like in my like when I like turned 20, and like at like once I became an adult, I really started to enjoy the movie just for
Mm-hmm.
its charm
Yeah.
and its production aspects. It's like quite honestly probably like what probably one of my top 100 greatest movies ever made, just
Oh,
like
damn.
just on merit,
Mm-hmm.
because just the people involved, what it
Yeah.
took, the
Yeah.
the influences, the financial backing at
Yeah.
the time. So all that said and done, how the fuck did we get here from like
We're talking about how Family Guy brings up a lot of like references,
yeah
or like even I just mentioned Family Guy because we're
what
talking
this
about
is
cultural
yeah
appropriate. So like it's bringing the character of Cleveland, who was played by a white guy for like so many years, and then out of nowhere, like probably the past few years, like people played like people of color characters being played by white guys was like not okay, no matter how good they do it, or like how the story goes. It's just like, you know what, just like I love watching the Cleveland show. Like, you know what, he got the mannerisms right down to the T.
even going into Apu, we just watched
Yeah,
the Bring
yeah.
Back Apu special with Akash Singh.
Yeah, it's not even like, it's not really negative, you know. It's like really positive character. You know, it's like he's richer than most of white people in Springfield because he just charges.
And honestly, I think like Apu's episode, I remember a lot of Apu's episodes being some of just some of the best episodes, because I remember there's an episode where like I genuinely don't even remember the details, because like in my head they're like sneaking his kids out of a theme park, but like I remember there's yeah I do not remember the details of the episode very well at all, but I just remember like Apu had a lot of like good storyline. I feel bad because I don't, but fuck, I stopped watching The Simpsons like 20 years, 10 years, 15 years ago at the very most.
Yeah, yeah.
Whenever the movie came out, that's when I stopped.
Yeah, it's just too
I
many
think I
episodes
think
now.
for a lot of people that were like watching The Simpsons before the movie came out, that was like that was the stopping point.
It was pretty good.
Which okay, speaking of culturally appropriate, black representation on Simpsons was done way better, because I'm sorry, like I'd rather have Carl than fucking Bumblebee, man.
Was played by the same guy.
What are they?
Yeah,
I believe it.
it's a Hank Azaria.
Yeah. Okay.
Hank Azaria did like most of the voices.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm more offended by Bumblebee Man than Apu. Like Bumblebee, but again, like I, I really hated being like a young Latino that was always like,
I mean, it's like
again, there was always this narrative that like,
Latino TV is
la,
just
la,
like so
yeah, well,
over,
not, yeah, well,
over
aside
the
from the
top,
over the
stupid.
top, like, well, hold on, I'm not too against the over the top, because I don't mind, when a
yeah.
novela's
Who
got
doesn't
some.
like? Who doesn't like
I
that?
don't. I mean, the women on novelas.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, the whole comedic act is.
Yeah, there's a lot of it, and again, like I know what character they're making fun of, but I wouldn't know that character by name, because again,
Mhm.
I wasn't that hard into Latin
Yeah,
culture, because
exactly.
I always felt detached from that part of culture.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, it's just over the top, just with ridiculousness and exaggerated expressions
well,
and
and I always felt that detachment from culture, right? This idea that that the Latinos were other was something that was always enforced growing up.
mm-hmm.
Whereas you had I mean, it was the '90s and the early 2000s of my youth, so
So it's
hip hop was at the
yeah,
as was at the forefront of
just
culture.
it's just like black and white shit pretty much at
Yeah,
the time.
so here's again, it was we're in a post NWA era. Here's Eminem, so now
Yeah.
black and whites are at the front of culture, and
Mm-hmm.
you guys still get a channel in a different language, and it's like I don't speak a fucking different language. I speak this language, so now I'm gonna resonate with these people, which this kind of goes into another topic we'll go to because again we're dancing around this. Oh, we're 39. We can dance around all these topics right now.
We're gonna dance. We're gonna dance around these topics.
Random dancing. That's an
But-
iCarly reference. Greatest web show of all time. iCarly's the greatest web show of all time. We do not even realize how much that show set the foundation for what modern web shows are. I watched. Yep.
Dang it.
Yep.
This shit just hit me now.
They became fucking celebrities and went to like Japan and like fucking like were getting recognized in the street and mobbed by people. She fought an MMA fighter before like Jake Paul fucking fought Mayweather.
Oh yeah.
There was a plot line in iCarly where she fought a fucking MMA fighter. She was it was Victoria Justice, but like
Okay, I was like, was there?
but it was like I fight Shelby Marks, and it was like she fought a fucking MMA fighter for charity, and now we have fucking YouTubers fighting fighters for charity.
True that.
Right. So we were talking about cultural appropriate.
I guess as far as white people are just playing people of color on TV.
Well, and I think in a voice sense, it's obviously not as offensive if like something like blackface or something. But
yeah, so this shouldn't. I don't know. I honestly wasn't really offended on the shows I watched. Like go ahead, have Cleveland play like a white guy, still getting like the black narratives, and they even had like episode for the white sounding black people, and they had a whole ordeal with that. It's just
and not to like boost white voices in
exactly,
in the minority. Well, I'm not trying to like boost my white voices in the minority space, but I still think it's important for us to hear out the discernment that white people have with, because again I think just any cultural discourse with any talking about black and brown relations. I was about to say brack because I'm a fucking racist. Black and brown relations, or
racist Asian.
Yeah, Asian. Again, even like when I was in college, they talked about this, or at university, past junior college. We were talking about this thing with racial triangulation, and all the white kids did not understand this. And this was, where do other races think about themselves in terms of in relation to white and black people? And this was something white people just didn't understand. They just completely over their heads. But the TA that was leading this session, he was Asian. He was Canadian Asian. He grew up in a province close to, I'm pretty sure it was close to Toronto, and he straight up said like this is essentially like the Monterey Park of Toronto. And I was like, I knew 100% what that meant, because I knew this meant this was a heavy Asian community. Yeah, it's like, and that's just it. It's like, and again, because again, anyone that might watch might not know like what that, but this means that like this was a heavily Asian community. This was where a lot of the the immigrants were coming from, from China, Vietnam, wherever, trying to make their steak. This was the portion they were all flocking to, because again, we grew up in a predominantly Asian community, but that didn't mean we grew up with one type of Asian. We grew up with a lot of types. I grew up with Japanese students, with Chinese students, with Vietnamese students, Koreans,
and then even like Filipinos, and you realize that's not Asian, that's Pacific Islander.
Yeah, like I knew specifically some of the more prolific people I knew, or not. I don't know why I would say prolific, but I knew some of the people I knew more well and closer were Filipino, but I knew a lot of my peers were actually Vietnamese. But I knew like a good portion of them were going to Chinese school after school. And we'd always ask like, oh, well, what's Chinese school? And they'd be like, oh, you learn Chinese. And like, I was so dumb and ignorant.
Duh.
I didn't know what that meant. And it's like, oh, they were like literally learning a different fucking language. Like how to
Yeah.
read and write Chinese. And it's like, oh, that fucking makes sense. I wasn't going to fucking Spanish school or fucking Mexican school,
Yeah.
but they were going to Chinese school. It's like,
Makes sense. Makes sense.
so, which I mean, I think there was a cultural grounding for a lot of like the more Eastern students that, and I don't know if that was just like their pop culture was hopping more in foreign countries or what. Because I wasn't getting into like whatever Latin culture was doing at the time. I was digging anime.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
listening to hip hop and
Yeah, there's an anime. There was an
fucking
anime club,
emo music.
but at the same
the
time,
the whitest music out there at the time.
At the same time, you just knew that they were on some other shit.
It's like my name's Terence and I'm stuck in a coma. Like if you know, you know.
But yeah, I don't know. There was those, and then there was just American Asians that started those clubs and everything. What social clubs,
But that was just
service clubs.
I.
It's like you could tell like who was straight up just.
Well, that's just it. Is when again we grew up and we went to a mostly Asian dominant school, so they were the ones kind of dominating the social club scene.
Mm-hmm.
But they were the ones that kind of had it in their head that academics was the path to being social.
Yeah.
But the rest of us, we were all,
I don't want to do all that shit.
let's go hang out at someone's house after school. I don't need to like be on school grounds to hang out.
Yeah, I don't need to yeah.
Let's go get into trouble.
Possible trouble. Yeah. True that.
Let's go make some trouble. And again, not to like discount. Again, there's plenty of Asian kids that were also getting into trouble. Not to say that they were all like
yeah, straight arrows.
Yeah.
But it's just it seemed like it was a popular thing to do at the time. Yeah, but speaking of with the school we went to and cultural appropriate. How long do you think Alhambra high school mascot is going to be a more in these times?
Okay, so you were talking about like how it could be kind of racist towards like Muslims and stuff.
Yeah.
But let's remember that Othello, the Moor of Venice,
was a black dude.
But so
does
that mean does that mean the whole time we were really like just the Alhambra black dudes?
No, it's like the Moor, their version of the Moor is like those.
No, it was very much the Muslim fighters.
Very
well,
Arabic.
And get this,
descent,
like
I'm
not gonna
the PE clothes.
No, it was full on like the dudes from like the bad guys from Aladdin with the scimitars and the big and like the vest and the hats. So I'm not gonna reveal my last name, but it was because my last name's of Spanish heritage. Yeah. So it full on like goes back.
It goes
back to like
a city in Spain.
Yeah, so it goes back. So it goes back to the Crusades.
I know, I'm like ready because like someone giving a history lesson. Like I fucking know that.
My family's crest was full on like they were honored knights in Spain, or from my last name, from my heritage. They were full on honored in Spain as knights because fucking fighting the Moors and killing
they killed all the black people.
Well, I mean the Muslims.
That's the Crusades.
Because again, it was also the Muslims.
Yeah,
it was just anyone not
it was a religious.
Anyone not white ethno-Christian.
Yeah, but like, come on.
Yeah.
So. Exactly. So it's like, even like knowing that fact is just like how.
While we're on this debauched sense of racism in the Crusades, let's leave it. Let's bring it to a modern sense of debauched racism. Have you heard anything about this Whoopi Goldberg? The View incident.
She said something about the Jews, right?
Yeah, she said World War II was just white people killing white people.
Yeah.
Which
I mean,
as minorities, we understand that type of sentiment, and
yeah,
like, no,
yeah.
no, no. But I think also like as people that understand like the way like, oh, okay, yeah, that's gonna set some people off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like it's still religious persecution, but it's just like come.
Well, and there's
But everyone knows it wasn't just Jewish people.
because they were also persecuting the gays and
Yeah,
blacks.
and Romanians
They
and
were going after a lot of people.
exactly. So I don't know.
See, and again, you immediately brought it to the broader sense. Because
Yeah,
you know your history.
yeah, I know history.
It's
So
like no,
it's
it
like
wasn't just
fucking,
like
it's like
it was a
I
bunch of
like
other groups
fucking
they
like
were fucking with too.
exactly. So it's like I
Which,
don't know,
which again, at the same
like you
time,
make a comment and someone will bring up the history and
well,
you'll be like, I fucking paid
well,
attention in
and
history
at the
class. I
same
know
time, the
this.
Japanese were slaughtering the fucking Chinese in millions.
Exactly.
So it's like we get it. World War II fucking sucked. Like,
yeah,
like I'm not gonna say everyone got fucked because some countries and groups got fucked a little more harder than others. But
yeah. And it's just like it really was just like a religious thing, and then this fact that it's like being Jewish as a race is just like it's getting old. It's really just like a religion.
I will not like because because you're right. At the end of the day, it's just it's a Middle Eastern because again,
it sucks.
well, it's like you'd be the first person to admit like, well, no, like everyone in Africa is black, so like everyone in the Middle East is Middle Eastern.
Yeah,
it's like where's the hard part here?
And it's this like, and that's just like Eurasian, and then it's like,
and that's. And we'll set some people off with this because again, I
don't think she should have got as slack as she did.
All those people,
dating. Kind of a fact, like.
Well, I see where people got pissed off, and I totally see where she was coming from.
Yeah,
and that's just it. It was like.
It wasn't like
and it's funny because like
it's a black person. It wasn't as like slavery, and like the Nazis got their ideas and practices from American slavery.
Well, I think like the ultimate place of ignorance on her part is like her stage name comes from like Jewish culture. So like Whoopi Goldberg, that's the most Jewish. You should be a little more
Jewish sounding name.
Let's be
ever if you had your eyes closed.
Yeah. So that one's on you.
So
I see where people are mad. I understand.
Yeah, I understand when people are mad.
I understand where she's coming from.
But
it's
there is some truth to it.
The racial lens in America is not perfect. It's a little blurry.
Yeah, I mean,
because
even there was this show on Adult Swim, I forget the name, where it's like all the races came together to fight the white man, and it was the black, the Asian, the Latinos, and then one of the characters was Jewish, and I'm like, that's not even a race. Yeah, there was also like a Muslim character too.
I hate bringing up other podcasts, but there's another podcast I watch, and they constantly bring up how they have a Polish guy that comes on their podcast, and by like I forgot what league or like what group, but by that group's definition, as a like a Polish Slovenian, he's a minority. He's not white. But he's like the palest motherfucker that comes on the show. And it's like it's fucking crazy, like the way people like talk about this stuff.
Yeah,
and again, that's why like
he's foreign for sure. He's definitely like different.
Well, and he's like second generation. He's American. Like he grew up in he grew up in the States, but then that's just it. Is you and I that grew up in the States and were born in the States, we're like, well, like you're American. You've like what's the issue here? Like,
it's like, yeah, like
you know what Power Rangers is, right?
Yeah, your parents may have gone through some shit, but you're really just like,
you're here, you're chilling. Like, what's going on, man? You want a beer?
Yeah. You talk like an American and everything. I wouldn't say normal. I'm not gonna say talk normal, but you walk and talk like an American. It's like, choices, but you're
bringing it back to culturally appropriate and talking normal.
Mm-hmm.
We know for a fact every part of the America has a different type of dialect.
Yeah.
Because we know that, oh, there's this, Southern dialect, and like, again, Morgan Freeman's accent, like, it wouldn't be crazy if we saw a white person from the region have an accent that was similar. Maybe not to the same degree of, like, depth, but like, maybe not even in terms of like the same accent, or well, it would be the accent, not the voice. Like the mannerisms and the twitch of like,
it's not too.
like,
I'm thinking about it. Yeah,
you can speak like Morgan Freeman without being able to speak like Morgan Freeman.
Yeah,
you just have to have that rhythm in your voice.
It's just something about it. Yeah, it could be just another just old white guy.
Right? Like,
I'm thinking about it.
Like, I'd imagine Mark Twain probably sounded like Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, I can see it.
Sam Clemens probably sounded like Morgan Freeman.
Oh God. Yeah, I can see it.
And I bet like now, like if we go back and watch anything where like people do voices of like Mark Twain, they're doing like a fucking Morgan Freeman voice.
That would be cultural appropriate.